All right, parents, if your kids are around, might want to tell them to go to their room. We're about to pull back the curtain on a certain magical Christmas tradition in Terrebonne Parish, Louisiana. We want to introduce you to the man who became the parish's own elf on the shelf. Rachel Hanley shows us how a parish official became one of Santa's little helpers.
You'd normally find him on a slide, at the library, or in his boss's sleigh. But Friday, Terrebonne Parish's own Robbie the Elf was working from home.
It's much different being the elf on the shelf versus moving the elf on the shelf.
This is Robbie Lee, the parish's communications director. He first became Robbie the Elf a few years ago when he worked in Lafourche Parish. The costume was originally meant for a mannequin.
They showed it to me and I was like, I don't know why, but right then and there I was like, I gotta put this on.
That day, the parish president came into his office to find this on his desk. After that, he kept going. Like his small plastic colleagues, he'd appear somewhere new every day in December. When he took a job in Terrebonne Parish's government, his higher-ups told him the elf costume had to come with him.
I'll get dressed before I even step foot out of my office. So I get dressed and I walk through the building dressed as the elf, like in full elf gear, and everyone laughs. Everyone thinks it's hilarious. It gets everybody in a good mood.
When he gets outside, the elf will go find his shelf, usually something that highlights a parish service or project. Thursday, he was spotted paying his utility bill. While he's out, he says fans always ask to take pictures with him, which he's happy to do.
Especially for this area who's had a very tough couple of years. I think everybody deserves a smile.
And Robbie the Elf is even helping Lee through a tough year. His own family's house flooded during Hurricane Francine 1 month after they moved in.
But I usually have tons of lights, way more decorations put up. In return, I've kind of done the elf thing a little bit further than what I've usually done.
That extra work has gotten Robbie the Elf some new fans. He says people even recognize him out of costume now. Celebrity can be tough, so every January 1st, he has a sophisticated disguise ready.
I'll change my glasses because everyone starts to recognize the glasses. So when they see me, they're like, oh, it's Robbie the Elf. So like, I have to take pictures with people, which is still fun, but you know, I do still like to keep my private life kind of private.
But for the next few weeks, the people of Terrebonne Parish will get to keep guessing where they'll see Robbie the Elf next. Rachel Hanley, WWL, Louisiana.
Police have arrested 3 suspects linked to 2 recent double murders, including a fatal shooting near a second-line parade last month. One of the suspects, a 19-year-old man, faces second-degree murder charges in connection with the deaths of 2 men from Marrero. Authorities allege he shot and killed the victims during the annual 9 times second-line event in the St. Roch neighborhood in November. The shooting shook the community and marked what would be a violent holiday weekend in New Orleans. Amelia Strahan has more.
No mother never had to hear the scream that my mother had to experience and the scream that I heard.
2 weeks after Charlisa Kohler stood on the bridge where her brother was shot and killed, her family may be a step closer to justice.
At the end of the day, this is us against the shooters.
On Tuesday, officers arrested 19-year-old Curtis Gray, the man accused of shooting and killing Malachi Jackson and Rayshawn Carter during the annual 9 times second line. Jackson and Carter were killed and 11 others injured in one of 2 shootings in the St. Roch neighborhood that day. The incidents happened less than an hour apart, but according to law enforcement, were unrelated. For almost 3 weeks, NOPD worked with multiple law enforcement agencies, but NOPD lead investigator Lieutenant Andrew Waldron says it's the community that helped them crack the case.
I can tell you that in this case, the community did come forward. They came forward through Crime Stoppers, they came forward through tips. Without the community, we would not have been able to solve this case.
Investigators say they found Gray at his mother's apartment complex in Elmwood Tuesday morning. Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick says she hopes this arrest can bring the victims' families some closure.
When victims know that the responsible party has been captured, it means everything to them.
But Jackson and Carter's families weren't the only families in the area waiting on closure. Police say 18-year-old Wayne Orson and 31-year-old Rashana Richardson were shot and killed in an apartment complex in the Westlake Forest neighborhood Saturday. 3 days later, NOPD arrested Cornelius Tillman and Daryl Fairley as suspects in their murders. Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams says fighting crime takes a team, and law enforcement will continue to work together to ensure justice is served.
And they're building strong cases that will stand up in court to an Orleans Parish jury to make sure that people are held accountable.
In New Orleans, Amelia Strahan, WWL, Louisiana.